Thank you for taking time out to watch. Please like and subscribe. Please
Write
join
about
our
a time
village
you
of
felt most
peace.
alive.
Zen.
Describe a place that makes you feel safe. What does healing mean to you? Detail a small victory you recently achieved. List 5 things you forgive yourself for. Remember a moment of unexpected kindness. Create a letter to your future self. Reflect on a past mistake and what it taught you. Imagine your ideal day. What does it look like? Describe a quality you admire in yourself. What are you most grateful for today? How have you changed in the last year? Write about someone who has positively influenced your life. Detail a goal you are currently working towards. Describe a moment you overcame fear. What does your support system look like? Write about a book or movie that changed your perspective. How do you show love to yourself? Reflect on a time you felt completely at peace. What are the top 3 lessons life has taught you? Describe a tradition that is important to you. What is something you need to let go of? List 10 things that make you smile. How do you recharge? Write about a place you'd love to visit and why. What are your strengths? Reflect on a recent challenge and how you dealt with it. How do you deal with stress? Detail a moment of pure joy. What are your hopes for the next year? Write about something you're looking forward to. Describe your perfect day of self-care. What do you need more of in your life? Reflect on a compliment that made you feel good. How do you overcome self-doubt? Detail an act of self-kindness you can do today. What are the most significant values in your life? Write about a goal you recently achieved. Describe your ideal support network. How have your priorities changed over time? Reflect on your happiest memory from childhood. Write a letter of forgiveness to someone. You don't have to send it. Describe what love means to you. What does success look like in your eyes? List 5 things you'd like to learn or try. Reflect on your most cherished possession. Describe the best advice you've ever received. How do you want to be remembered? Write about someone you miss. What are some barriers to your healing? Describe a talent or skill you're proud of. What's something you're afraid of? How can you face it? Reflect on your proudest moment. Write about a time you helped someone. Describe a habit you'd like to break. What does vulnerability mean to you? List 5 qualities you admire in others. Reflect on a time you showed bravery. Describe your sanctuary. What are 3 things you'd tell your younger self?
negative assumptions about who I was. Often, the fear of being seen is fueled by negative thoughts and feelings about ourselves. And it's our job to challenge those thoughts by asking ourselves, are these thoughts rational or based on assumptions? We can't heal what we don't unpack. And a while back, I had this epiphany that my mind was just a folder, that storage was full of uncomfortable memories or scenarios from my past that shaped me. And a big part of gaining my confidence was finally cleaning out the old junk files of my past and in my mind. This actually takes work and some processing. So go back to the many moments in your life that have made you insecure and think about it from your current level of awareness. Sometimes when we are so close to a situation, it's hard to see it clearly. And I've had so many scenarios happen in my past that I blame myself or others for, and I cringe at the thought of it even happening now. But in order to save myself, I had to let all of those things go and see the scenario with true compassion for myself or for the others involved. I remember growing up in my childhood, it was like the era of people pretending to be emotionless. So if you're someone like me, where you process things and you wanted to understand why things happen and you wanted to work through it all, that just wasn't a cool thing to do at the time. And I think oftentimes I feared showing up in vulnerability almost to the point where I hated the best part of myself. Because back in the early 2000s, there just weren't conversations being had. Things just weren't talked about. Everyone lived and loved the surface, and I couldn't compete in this heartless game. And this kind of emotionally stunted me for a while. It hardened me, most importantly. And it wasn't until I became an adult and I opened myself up to more people, and I truly saw the things that I hated the most of myself becoming a gift for others. That's when I just started to expand on what the damage feeling heartless or pretending to be heartless caused me in ways that I can now share with the world my gifts, because I've seen how the way that I am has helped so many other people. Practice self-compassion. Be good to yourself. Remember that everyone has vulnerabilities and imperfections. Treat yourself with the same compassion and kindness that you would offer a friend. I realized that in order to take a step further in my truth, I needed to build a deep sense of trust within myself. And becoming my own best friend was the key to doing that. And truly, it wasn't until I exercised the strength of the friendship that I had with myself that I really understood what being a friend actually meant. And really what it looks like, which is being honest with my boundaries enough to know when they're not being honored, being able to acknowledge when I'm wrong, and speaking positively about myself and advocating for myself. I don't think I say this enough, but loneliness has brought me the closest to myself. And it's unfortunate sometimes when I witness people create these tiny dependencies on their friends group or on their relationships as confidence boosters or ego boosts. Not that it isn't a great thing to have community, but I'd like to challenge your ability to have enough compassion for yourself and confidence in yourself in the event that your relationships change and people transition out of your life and move on. And we have to ground ourselves and develop a strong sense of self so that at any given time, and when a person decides to leave us, we are not left without, especially not left without confidence. Because at the end of the day, you are the only thing standing in the way of your highest timeline. And if I didn't have friends to watch my videos, I'd still make videos. If I didn't have friends to support my dreams, I'd still follow them. I am the ruler of my own life, and I had to truly develop the confidence enough to stand in my power of what that truly meant. So what do we do next? We start small. Start small by gradually exposing yourself to scenarios and places where you feel seen. Start with low-stakes scenarios and gradually work your way up to more challenging ones. Each small success will boost your confidence. opening a window for you to exist in the full authenticity of yourself. Set realistic and achievable goals for yourself related to being seen and being vulnerable while celebrating your progress along the way. Starting small was starting my YouTube channel. Starting small was starting to make short form content, and that's just my way of doing things. That's my way of showing up. But there are many other ways. If you're starting a business or you're putting yourself out there in whatever way, my journey was writing out my thoughts and making 30-second videos. And as those videos got longer, I started to see myself being stretched. And I loved the fact that no matter what, whether people saw the video, a lot of people saw the video, or no one said anything about it, I knew that it was important for me to complete this task. I knew how important it was for me to focus on the task at hand to move forward. I think for a very long time, when you exist in different physical insecurities about yourself, it can be very hard to see yourself, especially on camera. And that was me. And honestly, for a very long time, I had an issue with viewing myself on camera. It's just something natural that I had an issue with. I never liked viewing my scenes when I was done with them as far as acting goes. I just wanted it to exist in what it is, because I could never truly see myself how other people saw me. And then when I tried to view myself, every time I did, all I could do was pick apart my insecurities. All I could do was remember why I was never chosen, or why people didn't like me, or why I was always compared but never on the winning side. And it took away from a lot of greatness that I had. It took away from me actually like looking at my talent and saying like, oh wow, like I'm actually fucking amazing at this. Like I'm a great performer. And it's just so depressing when everyone can see your greatness, everyone can see your beauty, everyone can see your power but you. And so many people hide in shadows because we just truly feel we're better off not being seen. We're better off not experiencing the hard truth of other people seeing us and just genuinely not liking us. Some of us can't really handle that yet. I remember for a long time I couldn't. Now that I have this confidence to say, you know what? I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I love me so much. I no longer feel bad about who God made me to be. I don't think I was put here for this long to feel bad for myself. So at the end of the day, the goals needed to be reached. The expectations needed to be set higher for myself. And in order for me to do that, I needed to stand up. And the goals were realistic. I started very small. I remember when I got to 1,000 views on one of my videos, I was so like, the world was mine. No one could tell me anything. And I'm like, wow, like this could work for me. This could work for me, someone who's never really won things, someone who's never really chosen. It's so funny how many people are able to see you enough to choose you when you finally choose yourself enough to want to be seen, or feeling like you're worthy of being seen. I think for a lot of women, especially in relationships, I'm going to get there, especially for relationships, we
Follow your path, even
put
when
ourselves
creating it
on
along
this
the way.
rock, waiting for people to choose us. And often we experience so many lessons of people just not knowing how to, or not doing it in a way that truly resonates with us. And if you're unaware, you go many years of your life never really feeling good about yourself unless someone else is choosing you. So a lot of the good things that you feel about yourself are dependent on someone else. And it's such a powerless way of existing. It's so daunting for even your partner or your friendships to carry the weight of your happiness. There's no room for them to mess up. There's no room for them to be human, because they have to be the person that is bringing you validation and happiness. And I had to take a step further into what I truly wanted. And I knew that this was something that I wanted enough to do it consistently, because I had to say, like, at the end of the day, if no one saw me, if no one understood me, if no one resonated with what I said, if people thought that everything that I said didn't make any sense, I still wanted to do it anyway. I have been so successfully existing on my own, as far as like, it's always going to be me against the world. I've been in spaces where it's always been me against whoever, and I will take my side to the very end. So people not really understanding me didn't bother me, because I was already given a lifestyle that has equipped me with experiences of standing in my own truth confidently. Focus outward instead of inward. Instead of fixating on how you're being perceived, focus on
Create a
the act of
faceless YouTube
service that you're
channel. Define
giving,
your
or
concept
what it
niche.
is you're actually